Have you ever opened up a document and you want to be able to add some text? Well, not on the left-hand side where it starts, but over a little bit further than just a couple of spaces or hitting the Tab key. Instead of hitting the Tab key several times to get to, let's say, the 2-inch mark or holding down the space bar, let me show you. Come up here on the Home tab to the paragraph group, click on the Show Hide Code. As we covered in an earlier training video, this reveals the codes down below for paragraphs. This is my first paragraph. There's the marker. Hitting the space bar will show you that in the Show Hide code, when it reveals it, that for every dot, it's a space, and there's 2 spaces. Let me hit the Undo button. Or hitting the Tab key, that arrow represents a tab. And as you can see, when I hit it twice, it's every ½ inch. There's the first ½ inch, then there's the full inch. Which, by the way, if you don't see your horizontal or vertical rulers, go ahead and turn them on by coming over here at the top of the vertical scroll bar. And of course, when I click on it, it'll hide it, but when I click on it again, it will show it. And you can see where you're at when it comes to the position of your cursor. Let me go ahead and hit the Undo button. So what I want to do here is I want to be able to set up tab stops. So when I hit the Tab key once and I want it to stop, let's say at the 3-inch mark, instead of going over the default about 5 spaces or the ½ inch, it'll look on the horizontal ruler and go, okay, where's the stop? If it finds one, it'll stop right there, just with the single hit of that Tab key. And you can imagine if you just have to delete or edit one code, one tab, as opposed to like 5 tabs, you're saving yourself time, both on the front end, hitting the Tab key several times, and on the editing end if you have to delete all those tab codes. So let's just go ahead and enter the tab once. Now for this exercise, to show you how to do it, what I want to do is I want to create 3 columns. One for a column about books, the next column in the middle here for the author of those books, then the far right column, the cost of those books. So I'll just go ahead and type in books, okay, starting right off. I don't need to hit the Tab key or space bar, but I do when I want to get, let's say, over to the 2½ inch here, to add the next column for the author of these books, or the title here. So if I hit the Tab key, it only goes over so far. So what I want to do is I want to add a tab stop right here, just below that tick mark, the 2½ inch mark on the horizontal ruler. To do that, come over to the far left-hand side, and these are your tab stops. They have left, click on it, move off, hover back over it. They have center, click on it to go to the next one, move off, hover back over. And when you hover back over, it tells you the name of that tab stop. We have left, center, right. This one's the decimal. That one's the line. And then we've got some others that we're not going to be covering. And then when I toggle through, it'll come back around to the first tab stop, the left again. Hover over that, it's the left. So to add these tab stops, whatever's showing here, when you come over here and you click below either the tick marks or a number here on the horizontal ruler, it'll add that stop right there. So if I go ahead and I click there, it adds it. Now notice that not only does it add it, but if I already hit the Tab key, Microsoft looks down here and says, oh, we got a tab here. Let's go ahead and instead of stopping at about the ½ inch mark, let's go over and stop it right here at the actual tab stop. Now, why do they have left, center, and right tab stops? That's the alignment that when you get to that tab stop and you type in text, how it's going to align that text in relation to that tab stop. So this one's the left align. You can hover over it. It says left tab stop. That when I start typing, and it's going to be author, it's going to be doing a left alignment with that tab stop. So everything in that tab stop is right up against it left align, okay? So when I type, it scrolls over to the right because it wants to start off on the left-hand side left align. So if I want to go ahead and add, let's say, another tab stop over here for the final column, that when I hit the Tab key, it goes over to the right-hand side for the cost column. Then let's go ahead and add another tab stop. And for this tab stop, if I do a left align and I put it right at the end here, you can imagine that when I start typing, unless it's a character or two, it's going to wrap around and keep going below onto the next line, which doesn't make 3 columns. So instead of the left align, let's do a right align. That means that when I place the stop here, let me come over here and click through until I get to the right, and then hover over it, confirm it. There we go, right. Come over here and let me click just below the tick marks on the horizontal ruler, and without letting go of my left mouse button, let me drag it over and place it right at the border between the light shaded blue, the workable area, and the right margin, and let go. Okay, so you can see that little tick mark there. So when I hit the Tab key, boom, it shoots all the way over and it stops at that tab stop. Now what kind of tab stop is it? It's a right tab stop or right align. So when I start typing the cost, it'll go ahead and align it to the right hand side so it pushes everything over to the left. That way, instead of left align, if I start typing, it would start wrapping the text and pushing everything over to the right and wrap down to the next line. And that doesn't work. So I have to have everything aligned to the right here and scrolling to the left, so I use the right align tab stop. So all the tab stops, right, center, and left, all do the same thing. They stop the tab right at that point. But how you want to align that once it stops there when you type in your text, then you want to consider the left, right, or line stops. For example, if I want to change this one right here, instead of left align, I want it to align in the center of the tab stop. So I want to use the center line tab stop. Then come over here and click through it all until you go back to finding the center one. And you only know this by clicking and hovering over each one. There's the center tab. So how do I remove this tab stop and replace it with the center one? Hover over it and then click and drag it off. I know it's a really tiny tick mark. And once you drag it off, your document's going to freak out. It's going to go, hey, wait, we don't have a tab stop. Let's just shove everything over. Don't worry about it. Just ignore it and then come back up here and then click below that tick mark about 2.5 inch and let go. In fact, let me click and drag that over to the 3 inch instead. So it's more centered down here on the page. And then notice with relation to that tab stop where it stops it right there, once it stops it, it's going to not align it to the left but center it. So the T and the H are about right in the middle of that alignment there. Pretty cool. So you can see that I just have one tab to get from this point over to that point, that stop, instead of like several tabs, several spaces to get perfectly right there. I can just go ahead and add it, click it, and then click and drag it to move it around to position it just so. Now, when I click and drag it, notice how it goes over kind of like a jump there. If you want to do it more incrementally, in other words, instead of jumping from the 3 to, well, I don't know if you can see it, but it is jumping a little bit. Hold down the Alt key, and you can see up in the horizontal ruler, oh man, you're really getting finite. You can see that I can move it even lesser increments without it jumping. So you can get more particular, and it also reveals exactly the inch from the left margin and the right. So that's 3.09 from the left. Let me go over until I can see a perfect split or get close to it where it's about 3. I don't know if I, there we go, 3¼ inch from the left, 3¼ inch from the right. Let go of the mouse button. Oh man, that's beautiful. Brings a tear to my eye every time. And let go of the Alt key. Now once I go ahead and type in the titles for my columns, books, author, and cost, hit enter. And the nice thing about this is that I don't have to re-add those tab stops for the next line because Word will remember it. And that would be annoying if I had to go for this line, come back up here and add the center and the right. Now if you don't want them there, then you can go ahead and click and drag them off, of course. But let's go ahead and type in, hit the tab key, boom, stops it right at that center tab stop. And then once it's on that tab stop and I start typing in some text here, it'll center that on the tab stop. Hit the tab key, hit enter, and I can just keep on typing. Makes it easy, hit enter, just keep typing, hitting the tab key. I'll do one more here. Now that's one way to add and remove your tab stops by doing it by freehand. You know, coming up here and toggling through the stops and clicking on the horizontal ruler and then clicking and dragging them off. If you want to go ahead and do it numerically, where you actually type in the exact number that you want the tab stop to be at, then you can do it one of, well, 3 ways. Either come up here and find a tab stop. If you can find one, double click on it. It'll pop open the tabs window or close out. If you don't have one there, then come up here on the home tab to the paragraph group or the page layout to the paragraph group, either group, because when you click on its expandable dialog box button, you can come down here and click on the tabs button and it opens up the tabs window. How many tabs do I have on the horizontal ruler? I've got 2. Where are they at? Well, you can look down here, 3¼ and 6½. So if you want to go ahead and remove it, select it, and then come down here and click clear, and it removes it when I click OK. Notice, not from all of them, but just from this one. So if you want to remove it from all of them, then you have to click and drag and select all of the lines there that have those tab stops, and then go ahead and bring up that window. And then when you remove the 6½ inch one, it'll remove it from all the lines as well, okay, instead of just this one where my cursor was flashing on it when I removed it. Now notice that when I click and drag and I select all the lines here, that up on the horizontal ruler, can you see my tab stops? Not readily. I don't know if you can see it, but it's a very, very light shaded blue of the tab stop there, and also of the far right one. It's very light. And the reason why is because when I select a bunch of lines, let me select the first 3 that have the tab stops at the exact same point, it's emboldened, it's in black, and they're all at the same point. But if I select an additional line where it's like, okay, this one isn't exactly there on this line, but everything else is the same, then Microsoft Word's going, well, there are tab stops in your selection, but not all of them are exactly at that same point, so it shades it. So that way if you get something shading, you're like, oh, what the heck's going on here? Well, then just go ahead and click line by line, I suppose. And when you get to another line, and you can see that it's disappeared here, this far right tab stop, you'll know that one of these lines doesn't have the exact same tab stops in the exact same positions or the exact same number of tab stops as the other ones do, okay? So to go ahead and set this back for this one, I can, of course, come over here and toggle through it and add the right align tab stop there. Or I can do it numerically. Just come up here. We can go to the Home tab, go to the paragraph group, click on its expandable dialog box button, brings up the same window. There we go, tabs. Brings up the same window, tabs. And you can see for this line that my cursor is flashing on, it doesn't have a tab stop at that position at 6.5, just one at 3.25. So what I want to do is come up here and type in 6.5. And then down below it says, okay, what kind of stop do you want? Do you want a left align stop, center, or right? I mean, you do have the decimal and bar, or I call it the line, but it's a bar. I'm going to go ahead and do the right align, so it's like all the others here. And then go ahead and click set, and it adds it, click okie dokie, and boom, it puts it right over. When I go ahead and select all of them, they're at the exact same point, okay? So those tab stops aren't faded into a light shade of blue. So again, you can add and remove your tab stops by freehand, or you can do it numerically through that tab stop window. Now, in addition to your tab stops, you have what are called leaders. And what leaders are is that they lead your eye from one point of the document to another point. In other words, the show hide codes, these arrows, in a sense, are leaders. They're, if you can see and line it up just perfectly, you can see it goes from Harry Potter, and I'm looking at the arrow, and it goes over here, and it leads my eye over to the author. Otherwise, if I come up here and turn off the codes, you can imagine if I had hundreds or thousands of these, and I'm down here, and I'm like, let's see, Scooby-Doo is by J.K. Rowling, and it's $29.95. I mean, my eye's not being led exactly along a perfect route here. So they have what are called leaders. You ever seen those where they have ... or they have a line that goes from, well, one column to the next? Those are called leaders. So once you have your tab stop set up, you can now add leaders, where it leads your eye from one column, in this case, to the other column. So I'm just going to go ahead and, I'm not going to do it to the first row. I'm just going to go ahead and click and drag and select these last three rows here and all three columns. And then I want to bring up that tab window, and I can do that again, up to the paragraph group, click on its expandable dialog box button, click on the tabs, it brings it up. And then it says, okay, for these tab stop positions, like the first position at 3.25, do you want to go ahead and have a leader? Right now it's set to none. I can use dots or dashes or a solid line. I'm going to do dots. When I select that, click set, it automatically adds it, click OK, and there we go. Click off in a blank area, and it leads my eye in a line from Harry Potter ... to J.K. Rowling, and I don't get distracted and come down here to Fred and go up here to $49. And then if I want to add leaders to the rest of it, just go ahead and select all three lines. Come up here, the shortcut, double click on the tab stop to bring up that same window. And you want to make sure you double click on the tab stop, because if you don't, you click, you'll add probably another stop there. So I know it's really tiny, but see if you can do it like a video game. It's kind of fun. Hey, double click on the tab stop. In any case, go ahead and select the 6.5 inch, and you can do a mixture of leaders. Let's do dashes, click set, click okie dokie, and well, it looks crazy, but you get the point. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and hit the enter key, and then I'm going to go ahead and hit the tab key. When I hit the tab key, not only does it pick up the stops that we have from the previous line, which is up above, but also any set leaders. Well, Word tries to see a pattern here and goes, oh, this is what I see up above, I'll continue the pattern on down below. If you don't like that, then go ahead and hit the backspace bar. You know, we can clear these tab stops up here by double clicking really fast. And let's go ahead and say clear all and click okie dokie. When I hit the tab key, I mean, it's back to where it was. Goes to the 1/2 inch, no leaders that go with it. Let me hit the tab key a couple of times. Have you ever seen those signature lines where it has a line there and then below it says signature? You can actually create those with leaders instead of holding down the shift key and hitting the underscore and creating a line there, then hitting enter, and automatically, again, Microsoft Word is trying to see a pattern here, saying, okay, I'll just create a line for you, and then type in signature below. I'm going to go ahead and hit undo a couple of times because maybe I don't want the signature to automatically pop out like that or to be so many characters long. So let me hit enter a couple of times. We can do a tab stop. And I guess for here it doesn't really matter our tab stop. Let's say I want to create a leader from here to about 2 inches, the 2-inch mark. So let's just toggle through and let's do the left align and hover over it. It says left tab. Let's click at the 2-inch mark. Okay. And then let's go ahead and double click on that to bring up the tab window. And let's do a line. And let's make sure we have the 2-inch selected, and then go ahead and select line. Click set. Click OK. Hit the tab key. There's the line, hit enter, and below it I can type in signature. And then maybe if I want to get that aligned just perfectly, I could hit the space bar. I guess one space isn't going to hurt, right? And there you go. You can use leaders to go ahead and create those lines as well. Okay, and then finally let me show you those two other tab stops. Let me toggle through to get to the decimal tab stop. So I have decimals here and the cost. I can go ahead and select those lines there, and instead of having the right align, I can click and drag that off. Of course, it messes everything up. That's okay. Then come over here. You can see it's already selected the decimal stop, so I just need to click somewhere on the horizontal ruler and let go. And so you can see that it'll stop it at the decimal stop, but then once it stops it there, if it sees any decimals within it like it does within these numbers, it'll line them all up along that decimal here. And then we have, let's go ahead and toggle through the last one here, the bar tab. So if I come down here and I'm on a line and I take that bar tab and I click at the 2-inch mark, it adds actually a little bar right there, a little line going down. If I come down here and I add another one, it's already selected, and gosh, I don't know how I'm going to get it right on top of that one. Let's see if we can do it. It keeps adding that line there, or that bar. So if you need to add some bars at a certain point, then go ahead, and you don't have to hit the tab key. This is only one where you don't have to hit the tab key to get right to it. It'll just add the bar without you hitting the tab key. Just go ahead and add it, that bar tab, anywhere on that horizontal ruler. And when I hit the tab key, it defaults over 5 spaces, 5 spaces, 5 spaces. It doesn't do anything to that bar tab. So out of the 5 tab stops, the center, right, align, and decimal all stop when you hit the tab key, but the 5th one, the bar one, no, it has nothing really to do with hitting the tab key. It just adds it right at that stop point wherever you add that bar. Thanks for watching. Hey, as a quick reminder, if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. You can also click on me and subscribe to my channel to get notified of the latest videos. And for great specials on my products, please see the description below this video.